Hey, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I have some more Fallout 76 news and information for you guys. And we have a lot of it to go over today. It is going to be a blowout of information. We're going to be talking about the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout 76. We're going to be talking about multiplayer information. We're going to be talking about gameplay information. We're going to be talking about all types of information and details in this video. And all of this comes from Pete Hines himself, so you know all this information is 100% and reliable, 100% legit and reliable. Now we have over 25 pieces of information to look at here today, or over 25 tweets from Pete Hines to look at here today. So I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. We are going to read all these tweets. Sometimes I will give you my opinion on these tweets and what Pete Hines says, and sometimes we'll read it back to back to back to back so as not to take up a bunch of time. Now I know a lot of you, my subscribers, love to hear my opinions on things, but keep in mind, for sake of time, I don't want this to be a 40-50 minute video or something like that. For sake of time, we'll be reading some of these back to back to back, and the really important ones I'll be talking about just very briefly and very quickly. I'm sorry I can't give my full opinion on each and every single one, but like I said, we have a lot of information to get through here today, so I hope you guys forgive me for not talking about each and every single one. So let's go ahead and do this. Like I said, sometimes we will read some of them back to back to back, so just keep that in mind. Here we go. Somebody says at DC Deacon, "Yo, Pete, I need to ask, is the Fallout 76 game at the presentation the final game, besides the bug fixes to come after beta? Because looking at the gameplay, while the world looks great, the nukes looked a bit odd, and the mushroom cloud looked very low res." To which Pete Hines says, "There is no such thing as the final game. It's in constant state of fixing and improving." Now, I know exactly what this person is talking about. If you watch the Fallout 76 gameplay, I have not watched a bunch of it, and I'll talk about that in tomorrow's video. I haven't watched any of it, really, only like a minute clip of it. So I'll talk about that in tomorrow's video, but I have seen enough of it to know what this person's talking about. What this person's talking about is, if you watch some Fallout 76 gameplay, you'll notice that in some areas it's very laggy, very buggy, and very glitchy. Now, there is a reason for that. Bethesda Game Studios, when these people were at the event capturing the gameplay that they're sharing with you right now, they were told by Bethesda Game Studios themselves that it was not a complete and finished product yet. That this was a 2-week-old build that they had been working on very hard day and night, and that when they got further away from the vault, things would start to, be a little weird. And if you watch the gameplay footage of it, you notice that once players kind of got a little further away from the vault, the game started glitching and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure once the game comes out, it'll run very smooth. Like Pete Hines says, there's never going to be a such thing as the final game. It's always going to be in a constant state of fixing and improving, which I really, really like. And I highly doubt the gameplay that we see now is going to be the same, version or look the same as the finished product, or essentially when the game launches on November 14th. I don't think the gameplay will even look close to the, whatever comes out on November 14th when the game launches, or even when the beta launches. I don't think the gameplay that we see now is going to look like that. Now, I know that took up a lot of time, but that was a very important one to talk about. So we're going to do these next ones really quick. Somebody says, "Hey, Uncle Pete, will fast travel be temporarily disabled during a nuclear launch? Sort of removes the stakes if you can just warp yourself out of danger." Pete Hines says, "You can fast travel when there's a nuke. The idea isn't to remove any stakes. You're targeting an area of the map, not individuals." I completely agree with Pete Hines here. I really like the fact that they stated that you're not targeting individuals, but you're targeting an area of the map. I really think it's nice that people can fast travel out of the way. I mean, it's nice to, not lose all your junk in a nuclear explosion, or lose your whole base in a nuclear explosion, or at least it's damaged in a nuclear explosion. It would suck if you had no warning and a nuke just fell down on top of you, and now you're in this super high level enemy area, because when the nuke drops, it changes the map, makes enemies really high level, and it would suck to be stuck there. If somebody dropped the nuke on you, it's nice to see that you're going to get a warning, and it's nice to see you could fast travel out of the area, and it's nice to see that you're not targeting specific individuals, but areas of the map in particular. So moving on to the next one. I know I said I was going to go back to back to back after that, but now we're going to go back to back. So here we go. Somebody says at DC Deacon, Pete, I want to be able to make a variety of different characters to play as. Would I be able to do that, or will there be a limit to how many I can create? To which Pete Hines says, I think there's a limit. I haven't tried to make that many characters, maybe 5. Somebody actually asked something else about characters when they said, can you delete characters to make rooms for new ones? To which Pete Hines says, sure. So it looks like you're going to be able to have multiple characters inside Fallout 76, and it looks like when you get tired of one or you want a different build, you simply delete the one you like the least, and you're able to add another one in there. So there we go. Moving on. Somebody says at DC Deacon, this may be a stupid question, but can all members my party can all have their own camp, correct? To which Pete Hines says, party have nothing to do with it. Every player leaves the vault with a camp of their own, essentially meaning everyone's going to get their own base and stuff like that. So here we go. Moving on to the next one. At DC Deacon, will there ever possibly exist alternate world modes? I'd like to see one where the players no name tags or players on the map, and a PvP combat, not an invitation. To which Pete Hines replies, I imagine that is something folks would do once we figure out private servers. Moving on to the next one, somebody said, at DC Deacon, will all Bethesda employees have BGS or some version of that in their name? I want to hunt down Todd Howard. That's my objective. To which Pete Hines says, no. We just have whatever our gamer tags / usernames are. Usually those don't involve studio name. Moving on, somebody says, at DC Deacon, Pete, are there difficulty settings in Fallout 76? To which Pete Hines says, no. Moving on, somebody asked, at DC Deacon, I saw a video and the creator said that when you respawn PvP, you respawn really close to the player that killed you. Earlier this year, I hear you can respawn anywhere for a fee. Can you clarify, did respawning change since the summer? To which Pete Hines says, he/she may have chosen to respawn nearby. You still have control over where you decide to respawn. Pete Hines, moving on to the next one, somebody says at DC Deacon, quick question, sorry if someone asked this, but is there, I picture that as voice or some way of talking to your party with mics instead of the emote wheel, since that would be the best way to play a cooperative game. Thanks, Joe at Twitch Scott. To which Pete Hines says, yes. So it looks like Fallout 76 is going to have some type of fire team chat, or a chat where you specifically talk to group members in your group. Moving on, somebody says, hi, I have just seen the gameplay from today and it got some really negative feedback, which I really don't understand. People say that the big world could feel a little dead / lonely, so maybe instead of only like 20 to 30 players, what about 100? To which Pete Hines says, feedback? I have seen has covered a range but seems largely positive. No, we will not be quadrupling the number of players on a server. Now, I know exactly what this person is actually talking about. I've seen I haven't seen any negative reviews for Fallout 76 on any YouTubers. Anybody I've watched has not had a negative thing to say about Fallout 76. Everything that I have heard about Fallout 76 have mostly been positive. I heard 1 or 2 things that were negative about Fallout 76, but other than that, the positive far outweighed the negative when people were talking about Fallout 76. I read article reviews, I watched reviews from YouTubers, listened to them anyway. I didn't actually watch because I don't want to, see the gameplay because I don't want to ruin the game for myself. But I listened to what they had to say, and from what I heard, from what I've read in articles, 90% of it is good reviews and 10% is bad reviews. Most of the bad stuff is coming from YouTube comment sections, and this person actually says that in a second. And YouTube comment sections are always kind of toxic. Not ours. Thank God we have a beautiful community here on the Freak Easy channel, and I love you all and thank you for keeping it a very positive community. But I see most of the negative stuff on YouTube comment sections. but I don't think the servers should have 100 people on them. I think 24 is the perfect amount. I mean, I don't want to feel like I'm playing an MMO. I don't want to run every couple of feet and see someone. I don't want it to be like the Elder Scrolls Online when I'm running and I see somebody, I run again, I see somebody, and there's just people everywhere. I don't want that kind of experience. I want that Fallout experience where it feels actually dead and the map feels, you feel like you're alone. You feel like you're isolated. Go back and play Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 3. Yes, there are a few settlements and areas, but if you go out in the middle of nowhere, you truly feel like you're alone. And from what I've seen, that's the same experience that Fallout 76 offers when you're out in the middle of nowhere, except for when you run into people. And that probably happens very rarely, including that there's only 24 people on a map, 4 times the size of Fallout 4. So there you go. That's my opinion on it. Moving on. Somebody says, but anyway, if you haven't seen the hate and critics, look at YouTube comments, my boy. To which Pete Hines put, there are negative comments on YouTube. There are negative comments on videos on YouTube. Get the fuck out. Now, I have never seen a negative comment in my life on a YouTube video, guys. I'm joking. But yeah, like I said, most of the bad stuff looks like it's coming from people who haven't played the game. The people who have played the game seem to be talking about it very highly and saying it's a very good game. So moving on, and we're going to read these next couple of ones back to back to back. Like I said, I don't want to take up too much time here in this video, and it's a lot to edit. So somebody says, so is the Brotherhood in 76, or is that hollow for something else? At DC Deacon, at Ox1, hashtag Fallout 76. And if you see it, it's a hollow that says about the Brotherhood, to which Pete Hines says, interesting. Now, a lot more people talk about the Brotherhood of Steel, and we'll talk about all that kind of at one time after we read the last Brotherhood of Steel comment. So keep that in mind. Moving on to the next one. Somebody says at DC Deacon, if you pre-order Fallout 76 Power Armor Edition, will you receive more than one beta code that you can give to friends? None of my friends have pre-ordered, so I'm the only one. To which Pete Hines says no. Somebody asked at DC Deacon, just a question, if I am traveling alone and then attacked by another player, if I engage with him and he has a party with him which was unknown to me at the time, would his party be allowed to do full damage towards me, or would I have to engage with them as well? To which Pete Hines says they would have to engage as well, which is really nice, which is going to stop people from essentially jumping you inside Fallout 76. It's always going to be a one-on-one battle unless you want to fight more than one person at one time by accepting their challenges. But other than that, you could always one-on-one battle and you really can't get jumped. Moving on to the next thing. Somebody says at Bethesda, I didn't receive any email after from y'all about my redeemable code for Fallout 76. I used the pre-order code on my GameStop receipt last month on y'all's websites, and I'm still waiting on the code to redeem on my Xbox. Can someone help? To which Pete Hines says, codes haven't been sent. You haven't missed anything. Moving on to the next one, somebody says, will private servers be able to be modded? EX, increasing player size, count, turning off hunger, etc. To which this person, and then it says, this would help a lot because a lot of people want to roleplay in the game. I can name 50 player made factions off the top of my head. To which Pete Hines says, I don't know. When we figure out what they'll offer, we'll let you know. It'll be a while. Next one. Somebody says, at DC Deacon, will there be proximity voice chat in 76? To which Pete Hines says, yes. Moving on to the next one. Somebody says, is your stash linked only to one of a user's characters, or is it shared between all of the user's characters? Thanks for fielding questions at DC Deacon. The gameplay has been so fun to watch today. To which Pete Hines puts, each character's stash is separate. You don't trade in-game items between characters. So long story short, in Fallout 76, you will have these stashes. And these stashes are going to only be available for one player. You, whatever character you have out at the moment, that's the character that's going to be able to access and use that stash. If you stash something and then switch characters and go back to your stash, the stuff you stashed will not be there. It will only be available on one character, and that's what Pete Hines was saying in that tweet. So keep that in mind. If you want a full explanation on the storage system, I posted a video yesterday, and you guys could go watch that one if you want that full explanation. So moving on, somebody says at DC Deacon, I know how I'm being annoying with this question I've asked before, but how will questing work in Fallout 76? What if you're in a group and say your friend gets off the game and you continue to play and do quests while they aren't playing? What will happen? To which Pete Hines says each of you would have to activate the quest and each would need to finish. If you were doing something like a group event, I don't know what happens if you log off in the middle. Now, I'm not going to comment on that because that's actually not finished, because this person talks to Pete Hines a little later as well. So moving on to the next one for now. Somebody says at DC Deacon, why even include the Brotherhood of Steel in 76? They weren't formed yet, not even functioning yet. And yet you throw out lore in favor of putting in the Brotherhood of Steel, whom you seem to be obsessed with. Why put them in everything? To which Pete Hines says, sorry, I'm not the lore guy. I don't answer questions about lore or canon. Now we'll talk about the lore in a second and the Brotherhood of Steel inside Fallout 76. I'll give you my brutally honest opinion a little later after we finish all the Brotherhood of Steel comments. So next person says, so at DC Deacon at Fallout, is this some super retcon we going on? And let's go ahead and read this note together. It says, responders don't know shit. Every night there's more of them in the sky. Brotherhood warned us all. Defiance has fallen. They said, what the hell's that mean? Supplies running low. May try to get to Abbey, way over the mountain. Free states have gotta know more. Sammy, you read this. Get to Abbey, straight east of the Red Rocket megastop. She knows the Brotherhood of Steel better than anyone. May angels look after you, because sure as shit nothing else will. To which Pete Hines says, sorry, I'm not the lore guy. I don't ask questions about lore or canon. Now, like I said, we'll comment on this Brotherhood of Steel stuff in a second after we read them all, because yes, there is still more. Moving on to the next one. Somebody says, how can we explain Brotherhood of Steel presence and note in Fallout 76? To which Pete Hines says, sorry, I'm not the lore guy. I don't answer questions about lore or canon. Now, I think that's it for the Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout 76 questions, and that could be explained very simply. One, this is the earliest, from what I believe and from my knowledge of the Fallout universe and from my knowledge of the Fallout world, Fallout 76 is taking place at one of the earliest times we have ever seen a Fallout game take place. We have not seen what the world has looked like this early on after the bombs had fallen. So if they put the Brotherhood of Steel inside Fallout 76 in West Virginia, as long as it makes sense, it has a story, I see no problem with it. Since this is the earliest that we see the Fallout world, it is very possible that the Brotherhood of Steel did exist at some point in time before what we know is the Brotherhood of Steel existed, if that makes sense. Because Fallout 76 is going to present new ideas and new information, and we're going to learn more about the Fallout world through Fallout 76, so it is very possible that the Brotherhood of Steel can be in Fallout 76 in some way, shape, or form. So if they are in there, I'm pretty sure it's going to fit with the lore, because if we look at the Elder Scrolls games and all the other Fallout games, the lore has always fit, and I highly doubt it'll be any different with Fallout 76. And like I said, that's just my brutal, honest opinion. Moving on to the next one. Somebody says, so this is a question to my previous question. Actually, let me go back a second, because this is the one we're reading. At DC Deacon, hey Pete, I have autism and social anxiety. I understand that I'm not the target audience for Fallout 76, but will there ever be a feature non-online Fallout again that I can lose myself in story, characters / focus? Good luck on 76's coming launch. To which Pete Hines says, I'm sure there will. So like we looked at earlier, Pete Hines did say there would be private servers eventually, and I'm pretty sure eventually on private servers you will be able to play alone and by yourself. I know that doesn't pertain to everybody, but like the guy said, you know, it's not, you know, dedicated to him. And if there's somebody out there who has social anxiety or something, just know that eventually Bethesda Game Studios will come with private servers for everyone to enjoy their own. I wanted to include that in there just in case there's anybody watching my videos or who subscribed to me who's in a similar situation as that gentleman. So moving on to the next one. Somebody says at DC Deacon, so this is a question to my previous question. Will I not be able to do quest while my group member is offline? Question mark. What if he leaves while we're doing a quest together? Will I not be able to finish it? This is for Fallout 76, by the way, to which Pete Hines replies, quests belong to individuals. If you have a quest being, I think it means being in a group or not, doesn't change it as your quest to complete. So it looks like everyone's quest is going to be on their own. It doesn't look like you could take quest or undertake quests as groups. I'm pretty sure everyone could start this quest at the same time and kind of venture through it at the same time. But from what Pete Hines is saying, it doesn't look like everyone could start the same quest at the same time, or, you know, kind of everyone will be on this one quest. Everyone can do the quest at the same time, they just won't be doing it together. Does that make sense? Or maybe they will, I don't know. Pete Hines really doesn't clarify here, and I'm kind of just speculating off what I have from this little bit of information. So I picture if you're questing with someone and doing a quest with someone and they leave, you can obviously still finish out the quest. Plain and simple. That wouldn't make sense for you not to be able to finish the quest if somebody leaves. You should still be able to finish the quest. So, moving on. Next person says, at DC Deacon, if you have a high charisma, your perks apply to your teammates. Is it one perk, or is it all perks that qualify for the charisma divided by 3? To which Pete Hines says, you have to pick the perk card / cards to share. You don't get to share them all. It's already powerful. That'd be insane. So it looks like in Fallout 76, you will only be able to share one perk card with your team. For those of you that don't know, when you get really high level on special strength, perception, endurance, intelligence, charisma, agility, and luck, when you get really high level up there, you get perk cards that affect your teammates, and it looks like you're only going to be able to have one of these perk cards activated at a time that affect your teammates. You're not going to be able to have, you know, like 10 or 15 that affect your teammates and make them Superman and run around the place, you know, like really crazy. It looks like you'll only be able to select one perk card at a time that affects your teammates in a positive way. So moving on to the next one, somebody says, at DC Deacon, is there going to be a way to block out more toxic players? I am an avid Fallout fan and would hate to see a small group of players reduce any possible voice chat or other player reactions to a Call of Duty type environment. To which Pete Hines says, yes, you can block players. So I think this is a pretty neat feature in which you can block players. I don't know how far it's going to go, like if they won't be able to interact with you or shoot you anymore, if they won't be able to, you know, send you messages, use your emote will, invite you to trade. I don't know how far that's going to go, but from what it looks like is that if you block somebody, they won't be able to talk to you in game with voice chat, and they probably won't be able to send you messages. So that looks like how that's going to work. So yeah, guys, I think that's going to be it for this one. I hope you did enjoy the video. That's all the news and information I have today. If there's something that you were confused about, I will try to clarify it in the comment section. But like I said, you know, this is all the information that Pete Hines tweeted about. You know, they don't always go in depth on how the stuff works. But if you guys want my opinion on something that I didn't give my opinion on, leave that down in the comment section down below. Anyways, I love you all, and I hope to see you guys right back here in the next one. But until then, remember to stay freaky. And bye, everyone. Whew. Thanks for watching.